Hey y'all, and welcome back to another soft skills lesson with me. I'm Miss Faith, if you don't know that already, and I'm so excited to get into this lesson with you guys. I think this is lesson 8 now, and I've been having so much fun with you guys, and I hope you're having just as fun as me. So today we are going to be talking about appropriate behavior during virtual meetings or virtual meeting etiquette. And that just means the right way to behave or the correct things to do while we are on virtual meetings. Even though that I talked about last week that the country is slowly opening up, we are still in a lot of virtual meetings. I know at least for me, I am. So I think it's really important to talk about how we should act during these virtual meetings, because we don't know how long these virtual meetings will last. We don't know if later and down the road we'll have to go back to virtual meetings, or if we will keep the setup of virtual meetings. We don't really know. So that's why I wanted to take a few minutes to talk about the appropriate behavior and some things we can do during our virtual meetings. But first, you might be wondering what exactly these virtual meetings are are. So I have a couple of examples of some virtual meetings you might be going to online. If you're still in school, you might be going to class, right? If you're still in school, we're having virtual class until either the end of this month or a little bit into June. So class is a virtual meeting you might be having right now if you're still in school, right? And another one would be work. Maybe for work you're having virtual staff meetings, or you're helping someone, either staff member, customer, whatever the case may be for your job, might be online. So you might have virtual meetings for work. Or if you're looking for a job, you could even be having job interviews online or virtually. So work is another example of those virtual meetings you could be having. So, and the last one I put on here is it could be for a social activity. So maybe you're getting together with family or friends, or you're attending a game night, or whatever the case may be, to still interact with people and get a social gathering. That could also be another virtual meeting that you're having. So with that being said, those 3 different kinds, I think the main ones I see, class, work, or a social activity, are those things that those virtual meetings that we might encounter right now. So because of that, I want to go over 5 tips or things we can do or behaviors that are appropriate for virtual meetings. Okay? So our first one is have your camera on. Have your camera on. Because if you turn your camera off, the people can't see you that are in the meeting. And it can be very hard to have a successful meeting or a fun social gathering when you don't see the person, right? So always have your video on, because you want them to see you, and then you want other people to have their camera on so that you can see them. So that is the first little appropriate behavior I have, is have your camera on. And then the next one, that's another appropriate behavior I wanted to talk about, is mute your mic unless it's your turn to talk. So because we're at home, there could be a lot of things going on in the background noise. A dog could be barking, a cat could be playing with a toy, your parents could be on the phone, your parents could be trying to cook a meal or something like that. So to make sure everyone can hear in the meeting, you want to make sure your mic is muted unless it's your turn to talk. If it's your turn to talk or you have something to share, definitely unmute it and then you can share in your meeting. But if it's not your turn, make sure your mic is muted. Mute your mic unless it's your turn so that everyone can hear okay, right? We want to make sure everyone hears everything they need to hear and doesn't have to hear everything we don't. And then the third one is have a clean background. So the background behind me, not a lot's going on. It's just the back of my wall, like the back of my room. Nothing crazy is going on. There's no other people in it or whatever. And having a clean background will make sure everyone can stay focused and participate the best of their ability. So in that background, clean background, make sure that everyone is able to pay attention to you or whoever's talking and all that good stuff. And then I have one more, and it's wear the appropriate clothes. Wear the appropriate clothes for the meeting. If it's a social gathering, you can go more casual. Or if it's an interview, you might want to dress up. Maybe put on some earrings, my friends. Or if it's for class, maybe somewhere in between. You want to look presentable and you don't want to look super casual, but you also don't need to dress up for class, right? So make sure you're wearing the appropriate clothes for your meeting, your virtual meeting, so that you feel your best and look your best in terms of the context or what the meeting is. And your meeting can go smoothly and have fun with it. So those are 4. I'm going to go over them one more time. So it says, have your camera on, mute unless it's your turn to talk, have a clean background, and wear appropriate clothes. So those are our 4 appropriate behaviors for virtual meetings. And so you're probably like, Faith, why do these tie into the soft skills? Well, I have 2 soft skills that I talked about in earlier videos that kind of tie into this topic, I think. So the first one is attention. So I talked about attention in one of the videos, and attention is all about giving specific care and paying attention to the things that need it. So attention is really important because we need to be paying attention and making sure we're doing all these things to have a good meeting. If we don't have good attention, we might miss one of these and something could go wrong in our meeting, or it might not be as successful as we had hoped. So attention is super important. It's also super important to pay attention during meetings because it probably has some important information that you could share. Like I have a notebook right here and I take notes while I'm in my meetings to make sure I don't miss anything. So that's the first one. And then the second one is problem solving. So it might take some problem solving to make sure you're doing all these things. There could be tech issues and you're trying to figure out where the buttons are to have your camera on or to mute your mic or whatever. Something might be going on in your house and you have to problem solve to make sure your background gets clean. Or you might have to problem solve by doing laundry in enough time to make sure you have the appropriate clothes clean to wear to your virtual meeting, right? And then overall technology issues is another thing that we'll need problem solving in virtual meetings, right? So that's problem solving. So that is the first 2. So those are 2 soft skills that tie into this little activity about appropriate behavior during our virtual meetings. Some of them, like the wear appropriate clothes, applies to in-person meetings as well, but these other things don't. There's something completely new to us, so that's why I thought it was super important for us to talk about. So if you haven't watched any of my past videos, make sure you watch those so you're all caught up and ready to go with our next lesson next week, which I will announce the topic in a minute. I actually do have a teaser for you guys today. So now I want to tell you guys to comment and show me how you're using the appropriate behavior during virtual meetings so that I can shout you out. I definitely want to see it. So make sure you comment down below, go back and see the old videos. And then next week, I'm actually going to be talking about mental health. And I'm going to be talking about things we can do to make sure we stay healthy mentally and stay happy and hopeful and all that in this kind of difficult time. And how that plays into our soft skills we've been talking about. So I'm really excited about that video. And I hope you keep tuning in, and I hope you enjoyed this talk about appropriate behavior during virtual meetings. And I will see you in the next video. Bye, y'all.